was assaulted at my door by Deputy Scott Reid from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, and there is not a chance on earth that this man can be saved by qualified immunity. You were cleared by Sergeant Ryan Heaton, who is also directly implicated in a kidnapping now, but you made one really big mistake, buddy. This one can't be explained under any circumstances. So you claim to be at my door serving an ex parte Baker Act means that it was an order sent up by somebody and approved by a judge. But when I asked you to see it, you assaulted me real quickly. It was almost as if you were hiding something and all three of you that showed up to my door that night knew exactly what you were doing. Now you're claiming, and your organization is claiming, plus this is all they have in the court, so it has to be the narrative that you guys are sticking with in public. You all are claiming that you picked me up on a Baker Act ex parte order, which was supposedly sent up by my ex-wife. That is fraudulent too, so we'll get to that part of the problem after this. But all of the VA records contradict themselves all over the place, and they actually say that it was a Baker Act 52 that was the issuing evidence that was used to keep me there. To anybody not in the know, a BA-52 is 100% originated by a law enforcement officer that sees something happening. So they're out in public and they see somebody acting crazy. But then why were you at my door? Now, even the VA record contradicts itself, and I think that's why you guys started shitting your pants. As soon as I found that record and started putting out any information from within it, all it shows is fraud upon the court, and Scott Reid is going to prison for life. There's VA doctors that note that they saw a Baker Act ex parte order, they note talking to me about it, and that they believed it was the issuing evidence, but then all of the codes in the actual record say BA-52. Now combine that with a falsified writs of habeas corpus that says the exact same thing that's in my ex-wife's Baker Act ex parte order, and that puts you up at bat, Scott Reid. You understood full well that that entire order was bullshit, that you used to cook up false pretenses to grab me. As soon as I asserted my rights, you knew that you had to produce something or get away from my door. But by that point, you've already committed the crime, right? So you think you are above the law, so you just went ahead and kept pushing forward. Committed more crimes, more fraud, more impossible to explain situations that you somehow pulled off. For instance, you supposedly served the Baker Act at 9:30, if that's what you were actually serving. That's debatable at this point. But you served it at my door at 9:30, and then you got me all the way across town instantaneously. The time that's listed on the VA transport paperwork is the exact same time that he supposedly knocked on my door. Now that is magic if I've ever seen it, or fraud. So hence a felony kidnapping charge. So no matter what you say at this point, either option is fraudulent. Either it's a Baker Act ex parte order and you showed up at my house somehow before the paperwork even existed and beat on me and started a fucking fight at my door once I asked you to actually see it, which is my legal right and Florida state law. That doesn't sound good. Or you showed up at my door with a Baker Act ex parte claim, so false authority, and then proceeded to, again, provoke a fight and try to shoot me at the door with your buddies, and then drop me off at the hospital with falsified fraudulent paperwork attempting to cover this shit up, but you needed to make it a BA-52 to have me actually detained. If I had any legal redress, any ability to protest this shit, you would have been arrested by the FBI probably that night. What you did to me is abused the authority that the badge grants you, or you feel grants you. Then you proceeded to kidnap me from my home under false pretenses and try to cover your tracks every step of the way. But I've caught every single bit of it because this was some amateur hour shit. And the weirdest thing about this all, and it kind of proves criminal conspiracy, at least circumstantially, is that all your buddies that tried covering up for you on May 22nd by beating the shit out of me and terrorizing my daughter, they made you sign the proof of service for the Second Baker Act, even though you supposedly weren't involved. Why could that be? It seems like they wanted you forever tied to that in case it all went to shit and they had to burn some bridges. Sorry, but it looks like it's about that time. I don't think Sheriff Galtieri is going to allow himself to go to prison over your stupid fuck up.